Good morning. Thank you all for coming here today. My name is Bob Gritzmacher. I'm the Territory Manager for Pressure Pro. I also have Ryan DeBagno, who's out here in California as our manager out here for this area as well. Pressure Pro has been a very, very, very strong supporter of the contract industry. A lot of y'all have Pressure Pro machines. 2 years ago, we saw a need to upgrade and even have a better machine for you all because of the quality of work you do, for the hours you put on your machine. So our engineers went to work and designed our new machine. What we have here is the Magnum series. You can get that from 3,000 PSI up to 4,000 PSI, from 5 gallons per minute up to about 6.5, 7 gallons per minute. You can get it with a Honda engine or Vanguard engine, as well as a Kohler engine. The primary one that most people like is a Honda engine. It also comes with a general pump or a cat pump, or we have our own pump that we make called the Viper pump. It's actually made by AR for Pressure Pro. And we have it. The nice thing about the new Viper pump is that it has a bigger housing, so you have a bigger oil bath, so your pump has less chance of overheating. We also have a nickel plated head, so it can handle harsher chemicals, and we also have stainless steel caps on the pump, so it just makes it a more lasting, more efficient pump for you. And it's a very efficient pump and a nice cost margin, so you're not going to pay an arm and a leg for it like you do other pumps. Also, when you buy a Pressure Pro machine, they all come with a battery. We use a marine grade battery. When you buy a machine, that is part of our package. So it's all ready to go. All you got to do is hook up your water and turn it on, and it will start for you. Other things is they all comes in the Magnum series, all stainless. We also have a high grade of stainless that we use. You will never have any flash rusting on our machines at all. It has a 7-year warranty on the frame. You'll never have a stainless steel frame rust out. Fuel tanks, we have 2 fuel tanks on the bottom. They're 12.5 gallon. If you come up and look close, we have about 2.5 inch neck on it. So if you're dumping out of a 5 gallon bucket or something like that, you have a lot of room. They don't spill out as you're going down the road. We have a big cap with a string on it, so it won't fall out. You can also get it with a generator, 110 volt, 2.5 kW generator that you can use as auxiliary power to run a vacuum or lights or something like that when you're out cleaning. Let's see, what else we got on it? I think that pretty much covers the thing. It also comes in the Magnum with a non-marking hose that we manufacture ourselves. It also comes with the 48-inch trigger gun. We also use all stainless quick couplers on it, on the hose and on the gun. This all comes standard with the machine. You can get up to 100, actually we can go up to 200 foot of hose, and if you really need the longest we make in continuous hose is 300 feet. Anything over that, you risk a chance because of the process of making hose. You could have a blowout on one spot. So 300 is about the max. 200 we feel very comfortable with as a standard hose. If you need continuous hose that far, we can make it that far for you. Any questions so far? Jerry, do you want to tell them about the recycles? By the way, what reason Jerry and I are here together, Pressure Pro and Sirocco are teaming up a partnership and working together. We don't have a recycle system. He does, and Jerry has one of the best ones on the market today. I've known Jerry for several years. I work for a competitor who some of you have known, and Jerry has always had the Cadillac of recycle system. It picks up better than anybody else's. He does a super job of filtering out, and he has it in any layer you need, from your starter package up to if you have to have a real high-end filter system, that's there for you. And one other thing, pressure washers are part of the recycle system. Without a pressure washer, you can't get stuff clean. Where you have algae, where you have dirt, where you have oil all that stuff that's harmless to the environment, a pressure washer is what breaks that loose. And then in conjunction with that, recycle systems or recovery systems picks it up and recovers it so it doesn't go into rivers, into environmental areas that are hazardous for us. For me particularly, I live in Texas. As most of you know, there's a lot of oil in Texas. And to give you an example, when a drilling rig is done drilling, before it can be moved to another location, the whole rig has to be washed from top to bottom. Before, even if it moves 200 yards, the whole rig has to be washed down so we have no cross-contamination with the soil. And everything is captured and moved off. When the trucks go in there to the rig, before they leave the property, everything's undercarriages and everything are washed out on a slab or on a pad, portable pad, and then moved off. So that's all done by pressure washers. So pressure washers are very, very, very important to the environment and for keeping everything clean. And that makes you all money. So Jerry, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Bob. As a lot of you know, we've been building vacuum reclaim systems for a lot of years, and teaming up with Pressure Pros is going to help us get more of that equipment out there through their distribution channels, and having them manufacture the reclaim systems is going to increase the ability to deliver quickly and on both sides of the country. So we're looking forward to big changes in getting the equipment out there into your hands so that you guys can get the job done more environmentally friendly, and of course with greater work speed. You don't have to rinse when you're using a vacuuming surface cleaner, and being able to take these machines up into a warehouse or up onto a loading dock and have no overspray when people are walking by is obviously a pretty cool tool. This system was set up for demonstration purposes. It's a lot of performance on a small trailer, but what we have here is a 28 horse fuel injected Subaru, which doesn't care about altitude, by the way, for you guys up in the upper altitudes where you're going up and down the mountain depending on where the jobs are for you. Fuel injection is a very cool tool for that. Anyway, this one has a 4-inch blower. It's capable of running 3 vacuuming surface cleaners at 300 feet in opposite directions. I'm not going to run this thing at full blast to run one surface cleaner at 100 feet. So you'll notice that I'm not turning it up too high when I go to run this thing. On this particular system, we have a sand trap as the first filtration as the water's being sucked up into the vacuum system. That traps all the heavy stuff, sand and silt and cigarette butts or whatever's being sucked up. The next step, of course, is the automatic pump out, which has a slide-in screen, another layer of filtration, and any oil that wants to float or sticky grease balls, whatever, is going to get stuck against the slide-in filter in that screen. The automatic pump out pushes water into the oil-water separator that we have on the other side here. And the first line of filtration in the oil-water separator actually is a double stack of bag filters. So let me open that up real quick so you can see. We realize that most of you guys, even when you're hitting oil spots at a gas station, for example, or in a parking garage, the amount of oil that you're picking up is actually quite minimal. You're really dealing with more sticky dirt than anything else, and dirt in a filtration for reuse system is, of course, what has to keep you on your toes for how fast the filters are plugging up. So we've added double bag filters inside the oil-water separator to be the first line of defense against the heavier silt and debris that comes through the automatic pump out. So this minimizes the amount of debris that's going into the filters, therefore making the filters last longer. The automatic pump out in here is capable of 25 gallons a minute and moving a lot of water. So if you actually have 3 vacuuming surface cleaners running at the same time, you're not going to over inundate the capacity of the pump outs. As long as you have the right dirt load capacity and the filters that you choose, you'll be able to run and run and run without having to stop in the middle of a job and clean filters. These filters are made with, these are special order filters that have, they're made with a high density fiber that does not swell. So if you happen to get oil through the system, it would still be a cleanable element. You could still clean this element with 300 or 400 psi and reuse these elements. These are a very beefy, pleated, 100 square foot surface capacity element. They can handle a lot of debris. And the way we plumb our filters, they're in parallel. So we've got a stack of 3 100 square foot capacity elements here, and having them plumbed in parallel means that you'd have to blind all 3 filters before the water would stop flowing. Instead of having these in series where one of the elements is going to plug up before the others, we give you the filters in parallel so that you have more run time before you have to stop and rinse out a filter. If you buy enough filtration for the job site, of course, you won't have to stop in the middle of the job. You need to buy the capacity that you need for the job site. As we like to say, the job site tells you what it needs. You just need to realize what it's trying to tell you, depending on the debris that's on the surface and how many square feet you're going to need to do. And planning ahead, of course, is how we make money without downtime.
How long will those filters last before you have to replace them?
I've got customers that use these things for a year, 2 years. It depends on how much you use them and abuse them. If you're cleaning them real well, then you know they have a larger capacity. If you don't clean them very well, then it's a minimized capacity. And a filter becomes a better filter as you use it. So remember that some of those little stones that get trapped between the fibers are not only decreasing your dirt load capacity, but they're actually catching finer and finer debris until they would eventually plug up, unless you clean them well.
When will you know when to clean them?
If the oil-water separator is starting to back up, that tells you that the water isn't getting through the filters fast enough. That tells you that it's time to clean those things. If we put a pressure gauge on the element stack, then of course you can monitor the pressure that the pump is having to endure to push the water through the filter elements. There's another indicator.
Can you get a pressure gauge to put on it? Does that come with it as an option?
Pressure gauge is going to be a standard instead of an option from now on. I'm surprised that this one doesn't have a gauge on it already. So the future shipments will include the pressure gauge already on the element, so it's easier to maintain the filter pressure. Anyway, so
hey Jerry, when you're cleaning the filter, because there is sometimes different gunk on it, do you have to spray it or pre-treat it with anything to clean it, or you just backflow rinsing it?
If the filters are getting sticky from oily stuff that you're picking up, or if you're using soap and it's emulsifying that stuff and getting it on the filter elements, then yeah, you might have to use a degreaser when you're rinsing the elements. But it's not rocket science to manage that. And garden hose pressure for rinsing these things off for a little bit more. Like a downstream tip, for example, is fine for rinsing these things off. The next stage of filtration would be like the big blue stack of filters that has the finer elements. Unfortunately, those aren't available yet with the fiber, so you do have to throw those away once in a while, maybe once a month if you're using them all the time, or if you're under real heavy dirt loads, you might have to replace those more often. But we can go finer in filtration for reuse if you want to. Some manufacturers require filtration down to 10 microns for the warranty. 20 microns is fine for the health of the unit. It's just that your unloaders are going to wear out faster if you're running free water, recycling water through the elements. So getting down to 10 microns does make your unloaders last longer, and of course is less sediment building up in your holding tank. So let's fire this up and get it going. Any more questions?
How much different is your clean or whatever the filter is with the stream?
the string wound filter elements don't have nearly the dirt load capacity of the mega surface area of a pleated cartridge filter. It's a huge difference.
These are a whole lot easier to clean too.
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
And usually a filter like that, those plastic rings you saw, those bands around it, those filters will usually last until those bands start breaking. And those bands start breaking when you really want to replace them.
Any other questions? Okay, let's get this thing fired up.
the dirt all at the same time. Come on up, give it a try. So it's just like mowing the lawn. You're doing the same thing, just walking back and forth. The nice thing about this surface cleaner is you can also go side to side as you clean